Hello, I'm Larry, and this is Carter's Country. Really fortunate to be joined here today by Darren Green from Browning. We're going to talk about the new Browning X-Bolt 2, which was released this year. The X-Bolt was released in 2008, set the bar really, really high for bolt-action rifles. Kind of a game changer in a lot of ways. It's been wildly popular. It's an iconic model now. Somebody comes into our store and tells us they have an X-Bolt, you don't need to ask brand or anything else. You know all you need to know because it's an X-Bolt. Now, having that kind of gigantic footprint in the bolt-action market, who at Browning decided after 16 years, you know what, we want you to make it better. I can't imagine your design people and engineers hearing that and going, how? It's already the standard, So I was just wondering, was that you that pushed that, or
I might have had some input there. Said, hey guys, we need to make some improvements here. It's, at the end of the day, it's really hard to make improvements on something that is, not want to say flawless, but it's it's pretty well set in stone and it's proven itself, right? So
yeah, I mean you've got. I don't think it's any exaggeration to say every deer season you've got thousands of guys headed to the stand with an X-Bolt on their shoulder.
Sure.
So now I would imagine you guys had to dig pretty hard to find ways to say, if a guy's got an X-Bolt, we're going to make him want the X-Bolt too. So that's what you're here for. So go ahead and just start taking us through this. Perfect. And let us know everything we need to know about
Perfect. So there's a few changes. Barrel comps, they're all going to stay the same. You may have different fluting depending on what barrel or model you have, or it's a contour sporter, or if it's a heavier barrel. The biggest differences are going to be within the action itself. So the action thickness here is going to be raised about 1 millimeter. It gives it a little more meat as far as the mounting screws are concerned, to give it a little more bite. So you're not stripping those screws out, you're not running into the barrel threads, anything like that.
The guys at our gun room would really appreciate that.
Yeah, so any of those issues that has been, not want to say common, but it does happen from time to time, whether the screws are too long or whatever, it eliminates that issue altogether. While doing that, we also increase the surface area on the bolt to give it a smoother bolt cycle. So when you come back, it's still going to have a little bit of play, but that extra bit of material keeps it from binding quite as badly.
Just real smooth in and out.
Correct.
Yeah.
All standard X-Bolt 2s now will have the redesigned fluted bolt, as well as a different designed bolt handle to give it a little more ergonomic feel, outside of just the sweep, that kind of melted look that the X-Bolt Speed had.
Now on the action, I think it's, and I read this, now it's just up to my memory, 60 degree on the up?
Correct.
So really, I mean, given my age, I grew up when it was
sure, yeah,
so it would take me a while getting used to that, thinking, I didn't go up high enough.
And the way optics are moving, optics are getting bigger and bigger, so it just gives you a little more clearance from the bolt to the scope, right?
Yeah, that's a really good clearance there.
Knuckle bust,
right?
So it eliminates that issue altogether. Everything else is going to stay the same. The ting safety stays the same. The bolt release button is going to stay the same there as well. So nothing really changed there. We also introduced the DLX trigger, which is going to give it a higher pivot point, gives it a little less travel and a little more crisp break to it.
No creep at all. Just
Correct.
Okay.
It's going to break like glass.
Very nice. You're just taking away all the excuses for missing, aren't you?
Yeah, basically.
Well, I need
Falls
those,
on you,
but
or me, depending. The other biggest difference, and this is the one that really excited me, is going to be the stocks. This is called the Veritech stock. So basically what you're doing is the chassis have been around for a little while. It's not for everybody. The tactical look's not for everybody. I'm a sporter guy. I like the sporter stock, but I like the adjustability that comes with this one. Your traditional adjustable stocks are going to have a piece of Kydex or some sort of a plastic cap here with typically thumb screws or some other kind of mounting adjustment. What's going to happen is you get halfway up the mountain or you get halfway out in the field, you look down and this thing's on an angle because you lost one of your bolts. This one here is completely encapsulated and it's tongue and groove. So once you set it, it's locked in, it's good to go. As well as this line here is going to be where the stock comes apart and together. So it comes set at the factory at your standard length of pull. You can adjust it a 1/2 inch shorter and a 1/2 inch longer from factory setting. Okay, so to break this down, to get your adjustability out of the length of pull as well as the cheek piece, you're gonna take a Phillips screwdriver. You're gonna back off the recoil pad. It's about 10 or 12 turns per screw. Bottom one you can leave attached. It does not matter as long as it swivels out of the way. There's an additional 2 Phillips screws. So when you back these out, these are fairly long, so you're gonna have to go for a little ways because this is your adjustability of length of pull.
The one advantage to leaving them in is that would save me from having to pick them up off the floor.
So to put the spacers in, these have to come all the way out.
I got
to
you.
adjust
Okay.
the cheek piece, it does not.
Okay.
So to adjust your length of pull, these are going to be your 4 spacers here, all 1/4 inch spaced. So you can go, coming from the factory, it's gonna ship with these 2 in here like this. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can place these on here, try to balance them, get them to stick. The easiest thing to do is just drop them down into the back of the stock. And we'll just do 3 for ease of show. Pop this back in here, hold it in place, and you'll take your set screws. I like to get one started just so it doesn't fall out of position on you.
So they just seat in there real nice. Just slide it back in.
Yeah, it's a fairly snug fit, so there's not a whole lot of wiggle room for things to get out of alignment.
Simple is better for me, so I appreciate that.
Sure. Once these are snugged back up, you don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on it. Just light hand tight's fine.
Good snug, yeah.
Put this back on if you're fine there. If you want to adjust the cheek piece, you'll take a 3/32 Allen key. You'll be able to see the alignment hole here. This brass one is for the recoil pad screw here. These are your 2 set screws here for your length of pull adjustments. The Allen key is going to fit in this hole right here above the brass shim. And you'll have to back this one out a pretty good ways because that's the set screw that holds tension onto the cheek piece. The cheek piece is going to slide back and up. Once it slides forward, it's all in tongue and groove system, so it locks in, and this anchors it from backing out. So your cheek piece is incremental by 1/8 inch slots, so it's fairly fine adjustment. It's not going to be as fine as your thumb screw one, but it's a lot more dependable.
Right.
So it'll slide back like that to pop out of the groove, and it can fully come out.
Oh,
so
wow.
here's your tongue system. All your grooves are down here on both sides of the stock for positive engagement. So once you find where your alignment needs to be, you're going to slide it back forward, tighten it down, you're good to go.
Wow, that's all hidden.
Really simple.
Yeah. I was going to say foolproof, but that's a pretty big statement for me. So
like I said, once you break that down, it's really easy and it's set to go. So you're coming in looking for a youth model rifle. You don't have to go with our micro synthetic anymore or our composite stalker. You can get this one here and they can grow into it. You don't have to put a new stock on it or anything like that. So it's truly a grow into rifle.
That's ideal. I mean, I've got a grandson that's been hunting a little while with a youth model.
Sure.
His length of pull now is a little exceeding that. Something like this is going to be ideal for his dad to buy, that he can, like you said, just grow into it. And the thing I really like about it that excites me about this, you've got all that modularity, but you're keeping it looking the traditional hunting stock.
Correct.
And I really like that a lot. If you're hunting, your gun should just look like this. It shouldn't, be a bench gun.
And one other thing to touch on, Larry, that I missed is this grip here is also going to be interchangeable. So I have installed the vertical style. It's going to give you more of that McMillan type feel to it for those guys that like shooting the McMillan, as well as the standard sporter slope to it. So those are interchangeable. What you do is you loosen the 2 action screws, you pop the action out. There's a set screw right here below the tang safety. It's 1 screw. You pull it out, there's a little hook there, pop it in, screw it down, you're good to go.
So they kind of borrowed that from the pistol market, which it seems like just about every polymer pistol now has adjustable back grips.
Sure.
Pretty exciting to see that coming out on a rifle. That's pretty creative.
Yeah, so, and for like youth, I have a little girl that this is the rifle that she's going to shoot this season, and you put this vertical on there and it gets their hand just a little bit closer to the trigger group to where you're not elongated out and their hands are open and they're kind of awkward on the stock. So
it's funny when you start looking at all that modularity options, like the example you just gave me is something I would have never thought of being a factor, but the more things you can do with the stock, truly the more versatile it is in ways that until you start messing with it, you may not even realize you cared about.
One other thing too is, ARCA is becoming really popular, whether it's a pick rail or whether it's an ARCA type rail on here. This stock takes all of the guesswork out, all of the measurements out. So if you want to add any of those type adjustments or attachments or anything there's pilot holes there. So you will drill those pilot holes and you can put your attachments on there.
Add whatever.
Yes. So there's no more of the measuring and trashing the stock. It's all good to go from the factory.
The X-Bolt, you didn't really need any performance changes, right? You didn't need to improve that part.
Right.
But you found things that
make it user friendly.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's what I was looking for, was the user friendly aspect is really great. When I was growing up, you were either a youth rifle or a grown up rifle.
Right.
And that was that. And if an adult male was it didn't matter if he was 5'6" or 6'4". He had one length of pull available to him for a rifle.
Unfortunately, yeah, and that still holds true
So
today
that's really,
with
yeah.
most sporter stocks, right?
Yeah.
So
Very cool, man. I like that a lot. All right, so now we've got this adjusted. Let's say it's adjusted for me. I don't want to say custom for me because then if I don't shoot good, I'll have nothing to blame it on.
you gotta have excuses.
But you have lengthened it for me.
Sure.
Cheek piece is raised a little bit. So yeah, let's go shoot it. Let's see how the fitting job did, and I just want to see how it shoots because
Fantastic.
that's what I do with guns.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir. That one I was dead on.
Yeah. All right, well, Darren, thank you for letting me shoot that. It was did not disappoint at all. It was really cool feeling. You know, the modifications you made, the cheek plate up there. I mean, and you were one thing that really struck me was that trigger.
Sure.
Zero creep on that thing, man. You put your pad of your finger on there, and you can instantly feel that
Sure.
you're where you need to be. It was a great experience, and I got to tell you, anytime I can hit a bullseye with a rifle, it's a great rifle.
Great day.
So yeah, it's a great day. So thank you very much for bringing it out.
No, thank you guys
for
for
all
having
the
me out.
information. I know so much more about these now, and you know, if you come to Carter's Country, we have these in stock in a variety of different calibers. Come see them. If you see me behind the counter, come up because I'm clearly now the subject matter expert at Carter's Country for these. So
That's right.
yeah, and I'll just preface everything I tell the customer by saying, well, Darren said.
Hey, that's fine.
You know, yeah,
I'll be out on the range. Come
I'm
see
going
me.
to name drop.
I'll
I
verify
promise
it.
you. Yeah. And remember, folks, if you've ever shopped, shot, or hunted with us, then you're already a part of the Carter's Country family. Till next time, adios.
Do you think that was unison enough, or do we need to do it one more time?
I think you're overthinking it. It was probably good.
Okay. You made your choices then.
Was I too premature?
And again, just to really get you to understand, she's being nice because you're here, Darren. If it was me and Billy, it gets so bad. She's just...
It really does.
primarily because it's Billy, just give him a hard time.